Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. An interesting day to say the very least, to be honest, here over in England especially. Call of Duty was on just after the Euros finished and I was like, okay, wow, gonna get my mind off this game, to be honest, by watching hopefully some good Call of Duty between OpTic and New York, and then all of a sudden there's like a delay for an hour. I'm like, come on lads, don't let me suffer the pain. But anyway, tweeting your thoughts and all this in the comment section below. Interesting series regardless. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you were new as always, I greatly appreciate it. Everybody outside the channel, thank you very much indeed for joining. Now first of all, this pretty much was, well, me, like a Mal says right here, kind of watching the Call of Duty, but mainly watching the Euro finals. It was, yeah, congratulations to the Italian guys. They played way better than us on the day. So yeah, fair play. It's, you know, we'll just have to come back stronger next year, to be honest. It's not the result we're looking for, obviously, but I suppose let's talk about Call of Duty and take your, well, those of you who are from England and hope this will go a certain way, take your mind off the game, to be honest. Let's talk, well, some different stuff for the rest of the video at the very least. Los Angeles Thieves versus London was first game on. Felt bad for the London guys, right, because the Euros final was on, and the London guys had to play their series, as did Toronto, who also have English guys on their team during the grand final, or during the Euros grand final, I suppose. But still, I mean, it looked like at times London kind of wanted to get to the end of it so they could catch the extra time, and well, you could sort of right here early on. This was honestly a pretty comfortable series from Thieves. What I got to watch of it, I was kind of half watching it at a time, but it seems like really Thieves are coming to their own right. They made that victory against the other day against New York Subliners, right, just the other day. They come against London, a massive series for Los Angeles Thieves. Every one they win gives themselves a great chance of catching up Rokkr for that 6th seed. They are definitely in with a great shout of chasing that down at the present time, as we saw in the second series of the day. However, this game too went a completely different direction. It was actually London that came out and completely smoked them here. Of course, the Thieves are a relatively new team. Maybe their Search and Destroy wouldn't be quite so good. Impressive 1 versus 3 from Shawnee to get the job done. They close out the Search and Destroy pretty emphatically, but the next couple of games were very emphatic really in the other direction, especially this one. This was pretty much the first map we've seen John absolutely dominate since he's come back into league. Went like 22-8 or something. London's control just seems to be pretty woeful. Thieves completely destroy them at it. Obviously didn't want to screw up with them on checkmate again, as they've had some difficult times with London on that map in the past. But yeah, John had some phenomenal moments in this. Good to see him get back to some semblance of the John that we knew a few years ago in Call of Duty, and they close out the job here on Raid. So job done really for Thieves. They get their 10 points additionally on the board, and that really puts the ball in Minnesota's court, given that they're only 20 points ahead of the Thieves going at this point. Now they were only 10 points ahead after this series win for Thieves, and well, the ball was in their court to actually make something happen up against the Toronto Ultra, and it looked like early on they were going to do exactly that. Raid Hardpoint, this has been a pretty good map for Minnesota Rokkr. They, I'm pretty sure it was like Toronto won that crazy map win streak, and the map that they lost for to lose that win streak was against Minnesota Rokkr on Raid Hardpoint. They get the job done against them again, like a very close early affair, especially towards the end of it, 250-225, but Toronto Ultra are so good at bouncing back in these types of series. This game too, early on, it looked like, I mean, this one was a particular round that things kind of came down to the wire, but Ultra are very, very good on Moscow Search and Destroy. It's not a map they lose particularly often, and they get the job done here, and that's the thing, like, against a team like FaZe, against a team like Ultra, even if you got 1-0, like, you feel so scared that they're just going to at least win the Search and Destroy, or they're just so good all around. Standy gets the job done right here to give them at least 1 round on the board, but the Toronto Ultra get the job done in the end. They go into a control as well, and this is really where Ultra really come into their own. Their control has been phenomenal this entire season long. They win this one comfortably, 3-0. A couple of the rounds are very intense, actually went right down to the wire, but it's Toronto to get the job done, and they move on to 2-1 advantage in the series. And at this point, Los Angeles Thieves are loving life. It looks like Minnesota Rokkr on the verge of losing it, as indeed they do. This also massive for Ultra, right? Of course, the series they're expected to win, but at the end of the day, a massive job that they did get done here, because they're fighting for that 2nd seed. FaZe are locked up as the number 1 seed pretty much now for the major round for the World Championship, sorry. That's going to guarantee them a 1-round bye in the winner's bracket. There's only one other team that gets to get that, and currently it's Dallas Empire. New York seem to be kind of out of the running for that now, certainly not out of the running, but falling off a little bit, and Toronto needed to get to that point. They get the job done here on Garrison, get over line, and that is job done in that series. The final series of the day, this is where things got particularly intense, to be honest. It was, well, a very strange one from a few different angles. It was kind of a quick one, to be honest, at least in terms of the individual maps that were played. It was certainly not a quick one when we look at the series in its entirety. Somewhat confusing, to be honest, how this exactly went down, because there was a lot of talk about the server issues. I guess we'll talk about that here in just a second. First of all, Formal emerges that whatever the feature player is for the series, they love talking about this type of stuff. He had a particularly good one, to be honest, especially in that game 2. We'll talk about some crucial moments when it came down to that round 11, but a very back and forth affair in that game 2 Search and Destroy, but it did not go that way the entire time. Thought this was cool as well, right? There was a watch party going on for the New York guys. They were doing the flank just after the fact. Really cool to see stuff like this back in action, to be honest, even though there wasn't like a crowd technically in the stadium. People were certainly loving live out there, ready to watch the flank after the show and all that type of good stuff. Didn't really work out as they would have liked it to for the New York guys, to be be honest. They didn't really have much to cheer about in this series. It was a big one for them right on their final day of their own home series against OpTic Chicago. And yeah, of course, this is online stuff, but there's still a watch party going on. Great to see, to be honest, their fans back in the building, enjoying watching some Call of Duty play at the very highest level. But yeah, not ideal, of course, with the subliners going to Zuma, as you can see right here. Nice little bit of merch that they've got going on right there as well. Early on, this game was pretty interesting. This was a Moscow hardpoint. To be honest, both these teams have been very good at it so far this season. OpTic had a great result just the other day up against Paris Legion. We talked about earlier today how massive this series was. If subliners came out and won this one, they put themselves a nicely 1-1 in the group, and then they would have the tiebreaker over OpTic, and then it's like OpTic are looking particularly slow to actually potentially only get the 4th spot in that group. However, if OpTic were to come out to win, they would put themselves 2-0, and very comfortably now you've got Thieves there, you've got Atlanta FaZe there, and OpTic all at 2-0, and New York subliners at 0-2, which definitely spells a pretty interesting story for how that 4th seed, a third, 1, 2, 3 seed in that group may potentially go. So obviously a massive series for the seeding for the major, and that's going to have some seeding implications for the World Championship. That's, of course, every team wants to win the final major of the season going into champs, because, fairly often, the team that wins the final major ends up winning the entire thing. This game early on was pretty back and forth. OpTic had a very decent start, and you can see the rotations here, and honestly, the slang at times. It seemed like it was way more common that it was just like 4 dead for the New York guys in the field, like the OpTic guys would just wipe them off the map, than it was the other way around, and they pull ahead pretty nicely indeed. We get some great moments right here from Dashy, especially who's on a 4 streak, as you can see, and picks up a fair few kills towards the middle. They get some lovely rotations, to be honest, to the OpTic guys, and right to the end it gets a little bit sketchy, to be honest, over that final P2, but OpTic know that they have plenty of time in the bag. They can afford to give up a lot of the P2 time as Dashy's hitting beams right here with the mill stop or whatever this is. I'm pretty sure it's the mill stop. There's the microflect as well. I'm pretty sure this is the mill stop one. I get confused because yeah, between the two they sound so similar, and it's kind of intriguing how some players prefer some players prefer the other, and Dashy's certainly mastering this one right now. Towards the very final hill as well, like OpTic just decided, right, we can give all that up. We'll just play for the rotation. They win at 250 to 200 in the end, and then this whole thing kicks off, to be honest. And this is like, look, the CDL, how much can they really do about this? We said the other day Hydra had those issues that there was a lot of frustrations about right from the pro players on New York especially, and okay, they were having some problems, but still, how much can the CDL do about that? That is a question mark. But just a couple of days later, the same thing is happening yet again. I'm sure the New York guys are frustrated about it, and some severe server issues go on. And yes, this is like some sort of Warzone stuff happens, and that filtered down for some reason to the Pro League, and it's just not a good look, right? I don't exactly know if it's the CDL's fault, what they can even do about it in these situations, but still, it's just one of those things. Like as Clay says right here, oh wow, would you look at that? Something else has gone wrong once again for us. A team couldn't even get to the major. Things went wrong a few days ago. Now things are going wrong again. It's got to be hard to keep your composure in those type of situations. They lose the game 1, right? So OpTic come out and win the game 1 as we just looked at. As Clay says right out, currently in a match right now. Feels like I'm in a scrim the way my time is being torched. Ask me anything you go to A or B round 1 before the Search and Destroy kicked off. And well, it took a very long time. You see all the OpTic guys walking around right here saying, okay, yeah, we can't even get into the game. The server problems are there. They replay like the Atlanta FaZe versus Dallas Empire series from the grand finals of Major 4, and it's like, come on lads, it almost had more viewers, to be honest, than it did when it was initially broadcasted at the time. The OpTic guys kind of running around trying to keep their composure before they finally get back in. It looks like they're going to go, and then some other issue arises and they have to play the map 9. But still, they do eventually get back on the road, and as OpTic updates say right here, stay tuned. Certainly the topic of discussion last season. This season again, Hydra was pretty frustrated with the situation, to be honest. He got kind of bored, as I'm sure like a feeling replicated by a lot of people. Eventually, we do get back underway. And well, it was Scump really that turned up here. New York early on had a great couple of rounds. It was really OpTic threw away the round 2 so hard. Like they had a 4 versus 3 just to hold off the retake. And it's rounds like that against like the really, really top teams, against FaZe, like they're going to punish you and not let you win a map as a result of it. It's just things like that OpTic do need to clean up. But to be fair, they bounce back emphatically after losing those 2 rounds. They win 5 in a row, including this very impressive one where Scump just hops on the Ninja defuse and Hydra, well, he doesn't decide to check. And of course, it's a difficult spot for Hydra. Scump just lays down, gets on the Ninja, gets the job done. That's 5-2 for OpTic. Then New York bounce back, it goes all the way to around 11, a little bit more dicey than I'm sure they would have liked it to, but right to the end here, they're trying to retake over towards this B bomb site, and it's formally just spins on Mag. Dashy takes down Priestahh, and well, that gets the job done for them. So very sketchy, to be honest, for OpTic, but they do get over the line, and the momentum was fully with OpTic at that point, right, and they cruise over the line, to be honest, in this final control. It was a little bit sketchy. To be fair, OpTic did a great job in winning a couple of these rounds that I thought really weren't going to go their way, especially that round 3, where New York got that 4 dead, Hydra hit like a crazy stick towards holds open stairs. They try and rotate to A, but OpTic just shut them down, do a fantastic job defending the A zone, and then they close it out on the final round as well. 3-1, it was comfortable, right, at least in the control, and it was comfortable in the entire series. This is very impressive from OpTic. Of course, New York haven't really looked like themselves, but this is a massive 2-0 week for the OpTic guys. They've been clearly looking much better as of late, as the Scump says right here, GG's New York 1-3-0, a 2-0 in groups right now, hashtag brick by brick, and well, the sweep gets the job done for the OpTic guys in the end. Just to finish off with the statistic for this series, I mean, look at this, right, Envoy has an absolute monster series. The slaying on the side of the New York subline is nowhere to be found. Asim with a 0.82, Mac with a 0.76, Hydra with a 0.74, Clayster with a 0.71, not pretty at all, and Scump pretty much just going about even, but it's Form plus 13, Envoy plus 26, and Dashy plus 15. That is the type of slaying numbers that are going to take you over the line in whatever series you're going to play, especially a massive one like this up against the subliners. So there's some topic of discussions on this over the coming days. Subliners falling off, how good are OpTic looking potentially for the rest of this stage? They've still got some very difficult matches to come, but if they win their game up against the London Royal Ravens that they haven't played yet, they should pretty much be guaranteed at this point to get winners bracket for stage 5 major. Treating your thoughts in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm like you enjoyed this content. Other people like you may enjoy this content as well, and I've grown the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always, take care, and I will see you next time.